Rachel Daly's goal is the difference in this one right now for Houston, up 1-0 on Sinclair. The Portland Thorns on the road. Still not a comfortable lead for Houston and company, but must feel good to get that goal and just know that it's going to take a couple for Sinclair to get back into this one. Of course, there's options on the bench for Portland. Some as well for Houston. Let's see if we get any subs. Looks like we already have one for Portland. Again, a very sunny day in Province Park. Headed out, not in the last touch again. She scored, or excuse me, saved goal from going in that first half. Kuika comes in, Weaver to Sinclair. Disrupted, but still a corner coming.
That's an important substitution, getting Kuika on the pitch. Porter's also on. Do you think you're going to see the big names at some stage if they don't get a goal in Thorns?
All right, here's a corner for Portland, low. Try to keep it in the attacking third. Becky. That right side, Rodriguez. Intent for Sinclair, Schmidt gets in front. Still with Portland. Patient on the attack. Flies through, Hansen watching her back.
While they have this free kick, I must say I'm a little bit surprised that Taylor Porter came on. I thought there's a couple of big names that they would have gone to turn this match around. Obviously Sophia Smith, but even before that, Klingenberg out wide. If you want Kuika on one side of the pitch bobbing up and down, what about Klingenberg, Sugita in the midfield? Nothing against Taylor Porter, but you would think with no appearances so far this season that this would not be the right time to bring someone on to try and turn the game around. But hey, maybe she'll prove us all wrong. Happy for that to happen.
Daly riding up that sideline, it goes out. And again, it just goes to the point of so many games in this little time, just over a week, 8 days, 3 matches for Portland, and maybe they just really feel like certain players need a very long rest. Rodriguez, a little awkward there. Group swipes it back. Schmidt. Kuika, again, often in the starting lineup for Portland.
By the way, it's not just Portland Thorns who have options on the bench. There's a couple of useful players the Dash could bring on. One in particular, Kayla Abam, who's had a right knee problem. And she won a penalty for her side. And they were up against Kansas City Current, so she's a real threat up front. Got Zali as well.
Hansen missed times to Daly. Yeah, you get the feeling Abam will probably come in just for, Groom, probably not Daly, Prince, someone like that, because, with this press that Houston is putting on, it means players are going to get tired.
Oh, absolutely, but they're good options for Houston Dash. They've also got Emily Ogle,
right,
who was an ex-Storm player, so I think the Thorns fans there will welcome her back on. Well, they will for a couple of seconds, and then once the game gets going, maybe it won't be as nice. But all the former players, I'm sure, are very welcome initially at Providence Park.
Yeah, big welcome. Angela Salem, who of course was Portland last year, is now an assistant coach with Washington. They were very happy to see her back in the last match. Schmidt. Back with Portland. Rodriguez coming to work. Behind Sinclair, still fighting for it. Goes in the corner, Christine Sinclair gets there, looks around, service, a little bit weak, bounces to Campbell.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Sarah Loudon, the acting coach of Houston Dash, had a really inspirational halftime talking set to the Dash players. Expect the Thorns to come at you, expect pressure, especially from Weaver and Sinclair. There she is. Just be aware it's going to be a tough 45 minutes because you don't leave Providence Park with all 3 points unless you've had to really scrap for it. So I think the Houston Dash players are up for it. They know what they have to do. Now they've just got a second half in which to do it.
Nally. That white channel. Order. Ryan. Back to Porter. Cuica. Ryan plays with it. Guarding. Ended for Weaver, falls down in the 18. Took down Chapman in the process. Ryan, there's a tackle for Hedge. And it goes out on her, so it will be a corner here for Portland.
This is what this pressure is all about. It's just getting set pieces, putting the ball in the box, getting your fans behind you, amping things up, and just looking for that error from the defense.
Cuica just goes wide.
It's an opportunity, and that's what's going to come from this pressure. And Cuica probably trying to avoid the melee of players in front of her, try to stick it in just inside the post, but gives it too big a hook. Have a look at it from behind. She's probably going for that near post. But if you keep getting balls in and you keep getting shots from the edge of the box and knockdowns, then the chances are eventually something will go in.
Player down in the midfield, it looks like Groom for Houston. Training staff out quickly.
She's taking a lot of knocks. Physical player in front. She's given a few knocks and obviously got some back as well. That's what she's there for. Try and get the defenders and get their attention and see if they, make any errors. It's a chance for Sarah Loudon, who hails from Newcastle in England. Very interesting accent from up northeast. It's a real hotbed of soccer up there.
Yeah, lots of experience. She was with Houston a little bit as an assistant, of course, went to Penn State in the college game. Now she's back in the NWSL as Groom comes off and looks set to go right back on for the Dash. Again, up 1-0. Rachel Daly with that goal in stoppage time to end the first half. See if Portland has a response.
Just rubbing the side of her head, Shea Groom. Obviously, always makes you a little bit dizzy for a moment or two if you take a smack the noggin, as they say in England.
Becky. There's another corner.
More defensive work for the visitors to do. Of course, the fans love it. They love all these set pieces. They know that something could drop their way.
Rodriguez, that was the intended target, but Campbell brings it in there.
They expect goals at the top, just slightly in favor of Portland Thorns, even though they're 1-0 down. They've had by far the better opportunities, but that goalkeeper there, Jane Campbell, has been fantastic form. If you're looking for a player of the match at this stage, as a former goalkeeper, I might be biased, but I would say Jane Campbell is the player for me so far.
Of course, you get the feeling Portland's gonna turn it up a notch. If they become desperate, of course, they've got so many options. And that's the thing about the way Portland plays. Don't tend to play with a lot of desperation because of how controlled they are. Schmidt. Sinclair gets it back for the Thorns.
I think you make a very valid point. This Portland Thorns team's been so successful over the years. They remain calm even when they're down. So in so many games they've been down and come back and either drawn or won. They know what they have to do. They don't need to panic until maybe 10 minutes in time. Then they can start taking big risks.
Almost a little panic there as Prince with a nice little takeaway. Took off. She didn't have numbers though. Again, Loudon, head coach for Houston, coming in a tough situation, and we mentioned this, but Houston has one of every decision so far in the season, and it's been tough to be away from PNC Park, and they've handled it pretty well and a lot better than the Challenge Cup, which is the name of the game. It's early days for everybody in the NWSL.
She's a nice coach to listen to as well, Sarah Loudon. Very sort of energetic and explains situations. She was explaining how when they don't have the ball, that's what the only thing she's interested in. She says, you don't have the ball much, but when I don't have it, I want to see my players working and chasing. And to be fair, that's what they've done this match. They are following her mantra. As I say, very interesting listening to her talk.
Nally. Kuika gets tripped by Hansen. Free kick coming. Kuika explosive there. Just native of Finland. Lots of accolades with the Finnish national team. That joins Portland. Adds a lot of depth to the roster. Cross, Sinclair in the 18, takes a shot, back post, off the crossbar. What a chance there for Portland, off the head of Ryan. Thorns still with an opportunity. Here's Ryan. Weaver takes a shot, bounces off of Daly. Schmidt punches it out.
It's a fantastic header from Yasmin Ryan, and Christine Sinclair setting up really well. Not quite sure what that is. They're trying to beat the goalkeeper from the halfway line. Good luck. She wasn't that far off her line. But this is the pressure that Portland Thorns are beginning to put on. Balls in the box, and eventually someone's going to get on the end of something. Christine Sinclair, such awareness, beautiful ball, just floats it in. Yasmin Ryan, by the way, totally unmarked. And that's what the Dash have to be careful for. You've got to make sure you're watching players moving around. And she was alone at the back stick, and amazing that Sinclair was able to find her with such a fantastic cross. In the end, the crossbar was Jane Campbell's big friend.
Ryan's looked good, though, coming in basically, as a maybe starter for Portland, and, she's been open, had a couple great shots, and 2 near scores. And again, Sinclair deserves a lot of credit just for the way she creates. 38 years old for Portland, and I mean, her numbers are insane with Canada, with the Thorns in the NWSL. I mean, just unreal. But Portland needs a goal desperately right now. Down 1-0. Hansen muscles through. Right back with Portland. Weaver. Pokes it back to Porter. Physical play. Groom went down on that one. There's a shot, and it's over the crossbar.
I just wonder at what point Rian Wilkinson looks at Sophia Smith and says, start to warm up, because you want one player to break through a defense. Well, I would think she'd be the top of your list. You might also want to bring on some fresh legs, be it Klingenberg, Skeeter, quality players who can come on and liven things up, because certainly had some decent pressure the home side. Things, you know, balls bouncing around set pieces, hit a crossbar, but if it's not going to be your day, then you want to bring on a striker who can make it your day, and clearly that has, in my opinion, to be Sophia Smith.
Smith, 2 goals, only multi-goal scorer for Portland in the regular season. She's only 21, so there's a lot of time. Smith left in the NWSL. Again, just preserving her for maybe later, maybe not. Depends on how this goes. I'll get a throw in here for Houston, trying to hang on to their lead.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in any hurry to get things going.
No. Sanchez. Groom. Back and forth they go. Sinclair. Not beats her there. Right back with Portland.
Still working hard. Houston Dash, look at the closing down, look at the white shirts. It's not easy for Thorns to play the way through. They're going to have to switch it as they're doing there, try and push the Houston Dash players from one side to the other.
Mangus. Blee. Ryan. Shove from Chapman, keeps on going. And a whistle, and it's going to be Houston ball.
I think it was Ryan there just with a late tackle as the ball was being cleared.
Yeah, a little frustration boiling over there for Ryan.
So Loudon will be more than happy with this result so far. What a way to start things there, even though it's an acting coach position. If you keep winning, it very soon becomes a permanent coach's position.
Portland working quickly. That's Groom. She's down in pain. Tumbled down because of a trip from Porter.
Again, just killing the game, getting a set piece, slowing things down. It's exactly what the Dash want to be doing. They're doing it really well at the moment.
Porter's gonna get a yellow card. First card we've seen in this match so far.
It's on the ankle, it's a step on the ankle, and it stopped a goal scoring opportunity as well, so I guess it is worthy of a yellow.
We'll see a free kick here for Houston. And it looks like we have got a Mangus on the side, just switching out a cleat and a sock. But it does give Portland an opportunity to make a sub as Mangus gets all set. Sanchez, Daly, way off.
Not sure what that was from Rachel Daly. It didn't have much power in it. Look, it looked like it's the power of a cross, and yet it was at or towards goal. So very, very strange. Well, there we go. Mentioned Sophia Smith. Got to bring her on at some stage to get that breakthrough. Rocky Rodriguez comes off, and yeah, Had to happen because the one player you know who can create something out of nothing, Sophia Smith.
Well, you can hear the applause. Again, Rodriguez, very beloved with this crowd in Portland, and everybody knows what Smith can provide. Daly, after maybe a miscue on that free kick, now controls right wing, starts, stops, makes up her mind. Hansen, back to Daly, again has the lone score in this match, 35 career goals. So at the moment, she's in sole possession of 11th place. Schmidt takes a shot and scores. That's nasty. Sophie Schmidt puts Houston up 2-0.
That's an absolutely brilliant finish there from Sophie Schmidt. It looked like she was going to try and cross the ball. Instead, she sticks it in the top corner, and one of those smiles and hugs all around. And it just seemed to happen so quickly that there were no defenders. Have a look, she's got the ball there. She's trying to sort of probe her way through. Plays a 1-2. Christine Sinclair doesn't go with her. And then from that angle, it almost like she was falling as she hit it. Have a look here. She gets bumped a little bit there and just clips it into the top corner. You do not beat Bella Bixby at her near post unless it's a fantastic finish. And that was a fantastic finish.
That's the first goal for Schmidt this year. She's got 9 in her career now. Unreal score. Right as Smith comes on, Houston adds some cushion. By the way, Ryan Garris just checked in for Houston. They take out Sanchez. And now the dash, again, must feel a lot more comfortable. And, I mean, what a goal. What a goal.
Absolutely brilliant. And now an upset is really on the cards.
Becky, 18, cleared out by Houston. Again, we mentioned this at the beginning of this match. In 19 tries, as Smith plays with it, I'll wait to finish my thought. Sinclair, Ryan, cleared out. So they've played 19 times, these two teams. 13 times, Portland's won. Only 3 times, Houston has won.
Might have to change those stats after this game. There's still a while to go yet, and we know how fantastic Portland Thorns are at home especially, so nothing's a given. Sophia Smith is on the pitch now, but you got a 2-goal lead. Wow.
Campbell through the air, hauls it in. Yeah, Smith, I mean, she's had success everywhere, but great number at home, 7 goals at home, and again, she just started last year. Portland, the only other players with those numbers, Ashley Hatch has 8 goals at home, and Alex Morgan has 9 in that stretch, the same amount of games that Smith has played. As Menges goes down, we saw her for Portland earlier, you know, changing her shoe, dealing with, you know, something on the sideline, was late to get back on a free kick, and now she's, you know, again, dealing with what appears like a lower body injury.
Bit of scrambling going on that Portland Thorns bench, but you know, it's not very often that the Thorns concede 2 goals in all their matches this year. It only happened once against San Diego, beat them by 3-2, and to be fair, they were 3-0 up going into the second half and maybe just took their foot off the pedal. But not many teams come to Providence Park and score twice. So incredible performance by the Houston Dash, and Sophia Schmidt, what a good finish in the top corner.
Yeah, that's, again, you see 7 matches without a loss, too, for Portland, and that could come to a close if they don't figure it out. Menges generally walking off the pitch. She has not missed any time this season, Challenge Cup or otherwise. So that's probably why you saw Wilkinson just trying to scramble and figure it out.
You know, she must be hurt. Emily Menges when she comes off, because she's tough and she's committed. So clearly she has an injury problem.
You know what's weird though? As well, Sauerbrunn comes in, so it's not too difficult for Portland. They have a player of Sauerbrunn's caliber to check in. But I was gonna say, you know, Portland, their last home loss was to Houston in October of last year. So for some reason, something about the Dash recently, I'll say.
Yes, recently. And also these are league matches, not including the Challenge Cup, of course, where they did take a couple of losses in the Challenge Cup and still were unlucky not to make the semi-finals. But this is a big test now. Every season is a new one. Obviously, everyone, you know, every time you say, well, as wonderful as Portland Thorns are they going to be wonderful again this season? Well, big test for them coming up right now. But a win for Houston Dash would take them into joint second position. What a great start of the season that would be.
And then, of course, we talked about going into 3 matches at home. Schmidt, ridiculous goal from her. It was her first score since 2020 in the Challenge Cup final.
If you look at it again, Christine Sinclair might wonder if she could have just stayed with it. She didn't go with the 1-2. You've always got to go with the player. And sometimes you forwards off the hook for ball watching, but when you come into the box, you've got to stay with the runner. But still, from that angle, she's probably thinking, Christine Sinclair, there's no way you beat Bella Bigby from there, unless you stick it in the top corner, which is exactly what Sophia Schmidt did.
Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect spot there from Schmidt. Here comes Hansen. Bounce around Groom, the light touch. Dive there, covered.
Well, they're creating little half chances, the Dash, and whilst you would expect Portland Thorns to work their way back into this match if anyone was to score, they just keep creating little half chances. The Dash, there's nothing to say they can't put a third in and kill this game off completely.
And that would be unheard of against Portland. Here come the Thorns. There's a shot, and it nearly goes in. Just taking and shooting and almost hitting that. A great opportunity there for Portland. Becky, near miss.
I just wonder if she was shooting or trying to get the ball in the box for Sophia Smith. Christine Sinclair, let's have a look as she bombs into the box here. I think she's going for the pass, to be honest. And at the back stick, she was looking for Yasmin Ryan, and the near post, Sophia Schmidt, and didn't find either. But they're going to keep probing Portland Thorns. You know, this is going to be a battle now for the next 20 or so minutes for Houston Dash. But the benefit the visitors have is the second goal now. Even if one goes in and you leave here winning 2-1, you still leave with all 3 points. So they really have got themselves in a great position, have the Dash.
Weaver. Nally. There's Morgan Weaver again. Been in the game since the jump. Becky. Tries a service, earns a corner instead.
Just 1 clean sheet in 9 for the Dash this year. And I tell you what, if you come to Providence Park, keep a clean sheet in front of those fans. You'll double the number of clean sheets and it'll be one to boast about.
Sinclair, Campbell. Jane Campbell says no on that one. Got some help from the defense too, but again, here comes Portland right back at it. Smith. Woo! Close.
That was a good strike from Sophia Smith. She put a bit of topspin that to bring the ball down, but it just had too much height to begin with. And you've seen the space of a minute Sinclair have a shot that got blocked by the defense and saved by the keeper. You've seen Sophia Smith to stick one just over the bar. Gives you a sense of how much defending the Dash are going to have to do for these final 15 minutes. But they can see that clock. They know the end is in sight, and they've got that 2-goal margin. Just wonder if the Dash fans back in Houston and all over the country are beginning to think we're going to do something that has rarely been done. Go to Providence Park and win by 2 goals.
Hubley. Here's Ryan. Right flank. Moving into the area. Becky. Bounce around. Sinclair charging in. Campbell. Stonewalls her.
That's brave goalkeeping from Jane Campbell. She could see Kristen Sinclair coming in, and if anything, it's the striker who's come off worse. But you're diving at someone's feet, you're going to expect to get boot in the face, and Jane Campbell doesn't hesitate. Look at that, so quick to react, throws her body in, makes the save, and she has had an absolutely faultless match so far, has the Dash keeper.
Sauerbrunn. Schmidt. Long ball left for Groom. Porter tracks back. He's in. Porter maybe didn't know that. Daly with a shot over the crossbar.
Well, that's some poor defending. Assuming the ball's going out, you should be watching it all the way through. And in the end, Rachel Daly gets a little snapshot that, who's to say, doesn't end up in the back of the net. So once again, a little bit lax at the back, Portland Thorns.
Groom receives. Prince. Schmidt. Chapman not in. Here's Chapman. Hedge puts it on. Bigby, easy pickup for her.
The idea of the cross was good, execution not great, way too close to the keeper. But to be fair, I don't think there were too many white shirts up in advantage in the Shell Prince. They've got to keep working hard, and they are. Dash, they're still closing down, running, trying to make space, looking for opportunities. They know they have to keep that energy high if they're going to win this match.
Schmidt to Daly. Intercepted this time. Porter makes sure she has it.
You can see the number of white shirts there with that high press, and to be high pressing at this stage of the game, that's really, really good going from the visiting side.
Ryan is going to exit the game for Portland, and they'll put in Hina Sugita. We're talking about her, what she can add to the Thorns. Last her, well, she comes in a tough situation, her team down 2-0. Here's Sugita. Quick takeaway from Prysock. Groom is down. Daly. Defenders swarm. Porter makes a move. Kuika right into the camera.
It's interesting that Sarah Ludden, the Houston Dash acting coach, he made the one change that I can see, Ryan Garrison. You'd think that the amount of work her players have done closing down, that she'd need some fresh bodies out there. But and maybe we've got to pick out the fact they haven't played during the course of the week, the Dash, so maybe their batteries are a little bit on higher charge compared to Portland Thorns, who had a really tough match against Washington Spirit midweek. Because they just keep on going here, the Dash. They haven't had a need to make a sub, I guess, because they're still closing down, they're still winning balls.
Smith jukes out a couple defenders. Takes it herself. Prysock and Chapman combined to get that takeaway.
There you go. They're back in numbers. Look at those white shirts. They got back in numbers. They got forward in numbers. Energy levels have been very, very high in this match.
Sugita. Still with Portland. Weaver turns, takes a shot, couple of hops. Campbell picks up easily.
I'll just go back to the first half. Morgan Weaver had one kicked off the line by Katie Norton. You just wonder if that goes in. Does it change this entire match? Does it Portland on the front foot and then Houston are struggling? Because those chances not going in, and they've been punished with that Rachel Day goal and Sophia Schmidt, two wonderful goals, but they've had a number of chances themselves, Portland Thorns, and they've not taken them.
Daly. Prince. Ten minutes in stoppage time left in this one. Hesh to Schmidt. Right as Smith came in, Sophia Smith for Portland. Schmidt scored a goal, and it was the second one, of course. It seems like it maybe took some wind out of Portland's sails.
Pressure again, force Bella Bixby to rush that kick and puts it out into touch.
So it looks like we will see Michaela Abam come in just to get some fresh legs. Prince will come out, and you know, Prince has done a lot of great things up top.
She's worked so hard, hasn't been able to get the breakthrough herself, but she's made it happen for others in the team. She gets a pat in the back and well served.
So again, Bam, healthy, battling back from injury, enters this game. Immediately gets throw in and controls in the corner. Not a corner, but close.
This is all about game management now. 8 minutes left plus any added time. I think any team in this situation starts looking to slow things down. If they haven't done already, they slow it down a bit further. They take their time with the throw-ins. They'll look for fouls. They'll just do anything to work this clock down, because all the time it's a 2-goal gap. If you're Houston Dash, you feel relatively relaxed. The moment Portland Thorns get one back, should they get one back, then it becomes an absolute battle. So from a Dash point of view, you just want to just work the clock down, go home with your 2-0 lead, 3 points in the bag. Very happy days.
Corner coming. Garrison, no hurry. Again, her and Abam, they're the only 2 subs that Houston has used. Dilly is short, available. Dilly is saying something to the referee. Abam. Schmidt. Sees Sugita. Smith. Campbell comes out. That could have been a breakaway, but Campbell was there. Becky and company, you can hear the disdain from the Portland fans right now. There was some physical play on the far side.
You've got to look back there at Jane Campbell and say what fantastic job she did as a sweep keeper. She was through Sophia Smith, and the goalkeeper was able to read it. And then Abam uses her strength to stop the counter-attack. Now the referee's having a word. Not quite sure what it's about. Either way, it's frustration for Portland Thorns, but again, fantastic goalkeeping from Jane Campbell. And Sophia Smith just showed the team what they were missed by not starting with her, because she is so sharp up front, so dangerous.
Player down right now for Houston. That looks like Hedge.
She took knock, but I think she's going to be in any rush to get up. She needs to buy a little bit of time for her teammates so they can get a bit of a breather. And also what it does is it just calms the crowd down. The crowd getting excited and it all slows down. Very frustrating, no doubt, for Rian Wilkinson.
Yeah, perhaps a little gamesmanship going on. Garris will throw it in for the dash.
And Rian Wilkinson probably made those 5 changes thinking, well, I've got such talent on the bench. If I need them, I can bring them on. But she brought quite a few of them on and still hasn't turned this match around. It's always the danger with making a lot of changes and resting your regulars. You know, if things go against you, it's sometimes difficult to turn the match around. But you have no choice. As a manager, you've got to work the minutes with the players. You can't play your best players every game. And she's taken a risk in this match, which probably she thought was when she could get away with. And credit to Dash, they've taken their opportunities really well, and they've given very little to Port Thorns.
There's another just denial defensively. Schmidt almost boots it out. A bam playing through. Hubley wants a call. It will be with Portland. She's coming and she's kind of frustrated some Portland players. I think it's to Houston's advantage for sure.
Well, she's big and strong, and she's got stuck into them, made it difficult for them to play. And you know, with 5 minutes left, 2 down, you're frustrated anyway if you're the home side. You see that again, long balls that you're hoping find one of your players, as opposed to getting it wide and building something up. Listen to the crowd, they're not happy either.
Well, they're not used to this at all, especially against Houston. We talked about that Houston beat them last October at Providence Park, but also, you know, 19 games, 13 losses, including the first ever Houston game in 2014 was a loss to Portland. So there's not a lot of good history for Houston against this Thorns squad. As Daly goes flying, she's down in some pain. Kuika's gonna get called for that one.
Again, if she started the match, if Klingenberg started the match on the other side, would have been a different outcome, possibly, but who's to know? If you look at expected goals at the moment, it's pretty even. So basically the Dash have taken their 2 chances, one of them by Rachel Daly, brilliant finish, and the other one, Sophia Smith, even more brilliant. So maybe that's the summation of the day. The chances for Portland Thorns not taken in the first half, kicked off the line, great defending by Dash. Their chances they've buried, and that's what separates the 2 teams. And in case any Portland Thorn fans feel they've been hard done by it, they were lucky not to have penalty given against them in the first half as well. So I don't think it's unfair to say that the Dash possibly deserve this result. They really have put on a fantastic performance this evening.
Yeah, and of course didn't give up at the very end of the first half. Rachel Daly made something out of nothing, came back, scored, put Houston up 1-0 in the driver's seat at the halftime break. And then Schmidt, when it looks like Portland, now, you know, Smith is coming in, things are changing, perhaps this game starts to get out of hand, perhaps Portland gets on the board, who knows? Schmidt just kind of ends the conversation with her beauty of a goal. Campbell, of course, she would like to walk out of here with a clean sheet. Plus, it would be, if Portland doesn't score, that's 2 goals through 4 matches allowed by Houston. I hope I'm not jinxing anybody here. I might be. I would feel awful about it. Groom. Hansen. A wonky moment on that attempted throw-in. Weaver boxing out, coming up to get it back for Portland.
Still the white shirts organized, pointing fingers, helping each other, closing down, not allowing any time on the ball. If there's one thing they have done superbly well, in my opinion, the Dash, they've just closed down the Thorns at every opportunity, made it difficult for them, been as physical as the Thorns can be. And it's Yep, they have created the frustration currently seeing on those Portland Thorn faces.
Send wine for Portland. We're going to get a fair amount of stoppage time here, though. Prosock. Way high. It's not even a corner, though. Portland can't catch a break. Sinclair. Back to the goal. Smith. Broom just takes it back. A Bam. Off the deflection. Garris. 5 minutes of stoppage time. So again, decent amount. Schmidt.
It's a little bit of hit and hope at the moment from the Thorns. Balls knocked into the box that aren't necessarily to one of their players, just hoping something happens. They need to control that ball a little bit better. Rachel Daly shows them how to do it. Get on the end of the ball, play it to a teammate, and get the throw in and just work the clock down. It's hard to find any fault with Houston Dash. They just have been top class. When Jen Campbell, who's been fantastic, gets beat, then Katie Norton kicks it off the line. What more can you say? It's a clean sheet, 2 goals. They've ticked every single box, and I think Sarah Loudon will be one of the prouder coaches around if this result should hold.
Hedge is going to come out, and then we'll see just one, potentially the final sub here for Houston. Vazali comes in. Vazali has a goal in the regular season, by the way, for Houston. Daly has 2, and then 3 other players have scored for the Dash. A Bam in the corner, back with Portland. Sugita trying to go fast. Time is dwindling here for this Portland Thorns team. Without a loss so far in the regular season, looks like that's going to change. Beaver, Sinclair, Schmidt once again. It's off her teammate on the Canadian national team. Off Schmidt again. I'm sure she's just so eager to have this end in a victory, and she can go watch that highlight a bunch of times. But it is a goal that we will remember for sure.
I think you'll find over the next few weeks be more than a bunch of times she'd watch that goal.
Yeah.
I certainly would. I'd have it on a loop at home. Fantastic finish, but again, the work rate, keep mentioning it. But look at these white shirts. Look, one covering as well.
Slips through. Sugita has a chance. Control in the 18. Makes a move. Had out of trouble. Is that Schmidt again? A little slow to get up. But a corner coming for Portland as we near the end of this one.
It's a typical case when you fall behind. A team that has the lead, they get energized, they're prepared to put their bodies on the line. And that's what they're finding now. This Houston Dash team, they're desperately trying to hold on to this 2-0 lead.
Through the air. No, great shot. Chapman. Top of the 18. Sauerbrunn gets past Daly. Sugita. Portland fans, credit, still very engaged in this one. Want to finish with a score. Smith. In the 18, Weaver. Weaver goes down, but here's the corner.
She battled throughout this match, Weaver, but early on in the match she had some really good dances that didn't go in. Looks like time is running out for her.
Smith will be the one to take the corner as you see Rachel Daly directing traffic. Way up there. Prysock tracks it down. All the way back to the midfield.
They win the throw-in as well. Well, looks like Houston Dash are going second, joins second in the table. For Portland Thorns, well, it's a long season. They'll climb their way up, no doubt about that. But bit of a humbling moment for them at home. And sometimes coaches can use that to their advantage. And I'm sure Rian Wilkinson, because she's such a good coach, will do exactly that. You say, hey, you know what? Nothing's a given. You're going to have to go and work for it. And that's how they'll bounce back in matches still to come.
Well, there's the final whistle in this one. 2-0 the final score. Houston takes down Portland. Just the 4th win all time for the Dash against the Thorns. And we see incredible goals. Of course, Rachel Daly at the end of stoppage time in the first half. And then Sophie Schmidt with a unreal finish in the second half to lead Houston to victory. Again, 2-0 the final score. We'll break it all down on the other side of the break.
Pochybňuj si, co chceš, jen ne tuhle chuť. Ochutnej novink Mighty z extraktem z konopí.